Odell Beckham Jr., OBJ, put on waivers by the Cleveland Browns. Clear waiver claims have to be submitted, I believe, by 4 o'clock on Monday. They announce it on Tuesday where he's going to be and what it will potentially look like. We'll potentially hear some of the contract issues and stuff they were getting sorted out. I know Cleveland was trying to convert a large portion of his salary to signing bonus, and I think he was going to be willing to go along with that because that will help get him his freedom. And also that'll make him more appealing to maybe teams higher up in the waiver priority stack to bring him on. And those are going to be teams that aren't as good. And the last thing Cleveland wants to see is Odell Beckham Jr. playing for the Steelers, playing for the Ravens, or even really playing for any other playoff contender in the AFC. Move him to the other side so that the only chance you have to see him is going to ultimately be in the Super Bowl. So we'll see how that goes, see where he goes. Trying to look through this, Sean Payton came out, a lot of people had linked him to the Saints. I don't know if they have the financial ability to even do that. Even at a league minimum salary, Sean Payton made it sound like they don't have the financial cap space to pull on an Odell Beckham Jr. I think Green Bay, now they're going to be way at the bottom as far as waiver claim priority based upon how well they're doing. Recent loss should help them since they lost to Kansas City on Sunday, move up a little bit. But that would be potentially another place I could see him going. If you're talking about pushing the chips all in with your veteran quarterback, it would make sense potentially to bring a guy like him on, even if it's just for a half season rental, someone to play opposite of Devontae Adams to possibly, chew up some of those opportunities there. I don't think a San Francisco would potentially bring him on, although it could make sense for him maybe being on the outside. And I'm looking at a lot of these AFC teams because I think, Baltimore, and it's a cultural thing. I think that they would be able to absorb him in the locker room and be okay. But that's another place that they could potentially look. And they've had a tendency, as if you look at the Ravens, to bring in some of these older receivers and to see if they can squeeze any of their last lifeblood out. And I think that there's a number of years that OBJ will have left. I don't know if they'll be what he was before, but just trying to rack my brain to see some teams that he could potentially land with and what that might look like. Or I say the Tennessee Titans that are rolling. I mean, Mike Vrabel's a very strong personality. I think they could maybe bring him in. If it's, like I said, if it's a bargain basement price, that would give their offense a little bit more juice, even though they've got Adrian Peterson now filling in for the departed Henry, as he was obviously injured and down now for the rest of the year. So very, very difficult situation, but seeing where he goes, I believe someone ultimately will claim him on waivers, and I don't think he'll probably end up getting through the mid-20s. So there might be a team, heck, the Chicago Bears, even maybe throw out a waiver claim on him to bring him in to help bolster their young quarterback in an offense that's really void of playmakers right now, and to give Justin Fields some much added relief because all they really have, is Allen Robinson, and he needs some help. And who knows if he'll even be there next year. So there's a lot of ways to look at it as far as who could bring him on. But if he's cheap, I think he'll obviously have many more claims than the alternative. And that's what the goal of the Cleveland Browns was, since this priority list is going to be from worst to ultimately first.